A Knicks trade is coming. Multiple teams are contacting the Knicks, attempting to trade for Jericho Sims. According to these reports, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks are all interested in Jericho Sims, and he could be traded at any moment. We're going to break down all of these latest reports. But before we get started, guys, about 54% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. We are on a mission to try to reach 25,000 subscribers, and we could really use your support. If you enjoy daily Knicks content like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because it could really support all the great content that we're creating for you. And now, let's get started. Multiple teams are targeting Jericho Sims for a trade with the Knicks. The NBA trade deadline is tomorrow. So for today and tomorrow, expect to see a lot of player movement around the league. That goes for the Knicks as well, too. What we know for certain is that the Knicks will make a trade before the deadline, and that trade will almost certainly involve Jericho Sims. According to new reports, multiple teams are contacting the Knicks, attempting to trade for Sims. Let's break down these latest reports. Shout out to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype for giving us the following information. According to him, New York Knicks center Jericho Sims has drawn interest on the trade market from teams including the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks. The 26-year-old center and former slam dunk contest participant is on an expiring $2 million contract. The Knicks have a front court logjam in all-star Karl Anthony Towns. The expected return of Mitchell Robinson, should he remain in New York past the deadline, Precious Achiuwa, now Jericho Sims, and Ariel Hukporti, while being only $535,000 below the second apron. Remember, the Knicks cannot exceed the second apron to make a trade happen. They need to match the trades and the salaries dollar for dollar if they're going to make any move happen. That makes the Knicks and any trade they're going to make moving forward extremely difficult. That means any move they make has to help the Knicks today and moving forward. Leon Rose and this Knicks front office understands this, and that's why they're making sure if they make a move and Jericho Sims is traded, it has to be for the right package. Shout out to NBA insider Michael Scotto for giving us the following updates on what teams are currently contacting the Knicks trying to trade for Jericho Sims. And I believe that report fully. I believe that the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks are all contacting the Knicks trying to trade for Sims because all of those teams could use a little bit more size, but they could use more size at a very low cost. And Sims represents that for those teams. But could there be another team involved? Potentially another team contacting the Knicks or the Knicks contacting that team trying to get a deal done surrounding Jericho Sims? Well, according to Ian Begley, that could be the case because Jericho Sims' contract fits extremely well and lines up perfectly with another contract with a rival team. We're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're talking about player Guerschon Yabusele. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for giving us the following information. According to them, among those moves to be made for the Knicks could be a trade involving Jericho Sims, who SNY's Ian Begley sees as a likely mover from New York in the final hours before the trade deadline. According to Begley, I still think the Knicks will find a new home for Jericho Sims by the deadline. Sims, a pending free agent, could be traded straight up for Guerschon Yabusele. However, the Philadelphia 76ers hold Yabusele in high regard and would likely want more in return for him. Now, we don't know if that's going to be the only trade that the Knicks make, but without a doubt, we know as of right now, the Knicks are in contact with at least 4 teams: the Bucks, the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Philadelphia 76ers. And they've had some level of conversations about Jericho Sims and a trade involving him. So at the very least, by the deadline tomorrow, Sims will no longer be a Knick. He will be traded to another team, either for another player or for some second-round picks. And once that trade happens, then the Knicks will move forward and start making other moves. Now, do I think the Knicks are going to make another major trade after they trade Jericho Sims? Well, that all depends on what the trade offer on the table is. Is it a great trade offer that nobody can ignore? If that's the case, the Knicks front office and Leon Rose will absolutely entertain that offer, and they might actually make the deal and pull the trigger on that trade. Again, it depends on who's involved, what the Knicks are getting back, and how good that deal is. But if they're not getting a deal like that, they're not going to make any other trades after trading Sims, because at this point, at least in their minds, they don't think they need to. The size they need, they're going to get it back with Mitchell Robinson when he returns. And if they trade Sims and he goes to another team, they're likely going to look for either another backup center or they're going to look for some wings. And if they can't get a player back for Sims and they only get picks for him, that's not a problem. You trade away Sims for picks, you open up a roster spot, you free up some cap space, and then you can go to the buyout market. Or you can go to the G League. You can sign some talent, add it to this team, and you're fine. You give Tom Thibodeau another player that he can trust, he can utilize in game, and you can use in practice. This is what the Knicks are preparing for. But do not mistake it. Don't get it twisted. The Knicks are going to make a move. A trade is coming, and it will involve Jericho Sims. Could it be with one of these teams that we're talking about right now? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers? Absolutely not. They're not going to trade us Yabusele. Even though it makes sense in terms of money, it does not make sense in terms of the Sixers making the Knicks better only for Jericho Sims. The only way it makes sense, and this might not even make sense, but this is the only explanation I can come up with. If the Sixers want to tank to keep their pick, and then they want to trade away some of their good players to other teams, maybe they'll make this move. Because getting Sims really doesn't help the team. If anything, it might help you tank even more. So maybe that's why the 76ers look to move Yabusele. But even if they do, they're not going to move it to the Knicks only for one player in Sims and maybe some second-round picks. They're going to look for something else, a bigger return. If they can get that, then maybe they'll make that move. But at this point, they have no reason to move them. If anything, they're fighting for a play-in spot. So I don't see them making a trade unless a team gives them an offer that's too good to refuse. And the Knicks are not going to be that team. So if we move on here, there's only three other teams left: the Lakers, the Bucks, and the Clippers. I think the Clippers have enough size. I don't think they're going to make a trade with the Knicks. That leaves the Lakers and the Bucks. Out of these two teams, I can't call it because these two teams are the most realistic. Here's why. Lakers just lost AD. They need a low-cost option for defense. Jericho Sims provides that for them. With the Bucks, they're looking to get off of Chris Middleton. If that happens and they lose Bobby Portis as well, they're going to need more size on their team. Low cost to get more size on their team. Who could they use? Again, they could also use Jericho Sims. If I'm the Knicks, I'm taking the best offer on the table from either of these teams. And the best part is, after these teams have already made these trades and maybe might make more trades, they could be more desperate, looking to make every single trade possible before the window closes so they can maximize their championship window right now. The Bucks are trying to do that, and the Lakers are trying to do that. The Knicks should know that, and they should take advantage of this opportunity. I'm not saying they're going to get multiple first-round picks for Jericho Sims. That's ludicrous. Never going to happen. But who's to say you can't hold out and now get multiple second-round picks for Jericho Sims when in the past, he was barely worth one? You have to understand your leverage, who you're talking to, and what the cost is with those teams. Because depending on the team you're talking to, the cost for Jericho Sims will always change because some teams are more desperate than others. And you have to read that desperation and use it to your advantage to get the most assets back. And you know who I want dealing in those conversations for me? It's Leon Rose. And so happy to say that the president of the Knicks is Leon Rose. So he's going to be doing all of those business dealings. No problem with that. Happy with that. And can't wait to see what the Knicks end up doing and what player or picks or whatever assets we get back in that trade for Jericho Sims. But you don't have to wonder. You don't have to think about it. I'm telling you now. The player that will be moved either today or tomorrow before the deadline is Jericho Sims. I can't tell you the trade package yet, but I'm promising you, guaranteeing you, that trade is happening. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks being in trade talks with multiple teams, including the Lakers, the Clippers, the Bucks, and the Philadelphia 76ers, all for Jericho Sims? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.